Is that you? You're doing everything that's expected of you. You show up, you perform. More than that, most of the time you exceed expectations. People praise your work ethic. You take care of others. From the outside, everything looks fine, but inside, something feels off. You're exhausted, numb, disconnected. You might not even think of it as depression. After all, you're still functioning, so how could it be depression? But what if that's exactly what it is? Let's talk about high-functioning depression. We'll explore why this form of depression often goes unnoticed, why asking for help can feel so difficult, and why it's so important to take the warning signs seriously. Along the way, I also share some of my personal experience with clients I've worked with and with my own struggle with depression. I'm Alexander, welcome to Simply Human. So what is high-functioning depression and why is it so hard to spot? Many people have a distorted, stereotypical image of what depression looks like. When we hear depression, we often imagine someone who can't get out of bed. Someone who's constantly crying, desperate, unable to function. And people with high-functioning depression don't fit this image. In fact, they seem like the opposite. They're still doing so well on the outside, hardly anyone suspects they might be suffering on the inside. They're hardworking, reliable, often remarkably successful. You don't look depressed. You're not lying in bed all day. You're at work, you're replying to messages, you're checking boxes. And that makes it easy to hide from others and from yourself. You're so used to functioning that you assume you're fine, but you're not. High-functioning depression is a mild but persistent form of depression. You manage to keep up with your daily responsibilities. Maybe you're even thriving at work, admired by others. But underneath that surface, there's a constant feeling of emptiness, a lack of joy, and a deep inner fatigue. You might think, I can't be depressed, I'm still getting things done. But it's like carrying a heavy weight every day while pretending it's light. When I went through my first major depressive episode and had to start therapy, I had just begun a master's degree at Harvard on a full scholarship. I was doing well in my courses, helping organize an international conference and starting a family with my wife. From the outside, it looked like a dream life. Inside, I felt like I was slowly disappearing. Everything felt grey and meaningless, and I had to fight hard just to keep up with all the expectations, to maintain the appearance of a successful, high-achieving student. This photo of my graduation captures it all, for me at least. The cap and gown, the broad smile, the recognition. On the outside, it all looked like success. But inside, it was a very different story. Maybe, just maybe, you can sense it in the eyes. The heaviness, the disconnect, the quiet struggle that stayed invisible to almost everyone. That's the thing with high-functioning depression. You can keep up appearances for a while, until you reach a breaking point. So why do people with high-functioning depression often not ask for help? They struggle in silence and often feel like they can't reach out for help because they believe no one would understand. And that's why most of the time, the only one who truly knows how bad it feels is the person going through it. They're afraid of disappointing others, afraid of shattering the image people have of them. Clients who come to me with high-functioning depression often say things like, I'm not even sure I deserve therapy. There are people who have it so much worse. What if you think I'm just being dramatic? That's why so many of them come very late, only after they've hit a wall, when the mask falls, when they suffer a breakdown, or when the emotional pain starts to affect their physical health. That's when people around them say things like, I never would have guessed. I had no idea they were going through something like that. Let's now look at some of the signs of high-functioning depression that often go unnoticed, divided into three main themes: inner fatigue, emotional disconnection, and hidden coping struggles. First, inner fatigue and pressure to keep going. You experience a persistent tiredness, even after rest. It's hard to get out of bed in the morning and find momentum. You work hard, but don't feel truly engaged, neither at work nor in other areas of life. When you reach a goal, the joy is fleeting. You immediately shift your focus to the next thing. You notice it's getting harder to concentrate or stay energized. Sometimes your energy just drops out of nowhere and it takes sheer will or external pressure to keep going. You feel guilty when you rest. A constant mental to-do list follows you everywhere. There's always something you should be doing. You suppress your own needs to stay productive. Exercise, healthy food, taking breaks, all of that comes last, if at all. Second, emotional numbness and disconnection. You smile, but it doesn't reach your eyes. You're always on, but rarely present. Things that once brought joy, time with your partner, friends, hobbies, feel distant or dull, as if covered by a grey fog. Third, hidden coping and withdrawal. You experience irritation or even sudden rage, especially when something doesn't go as expected. You turn to unhealthy coping strategies, alcohol, drugs, compulsive exercising, overeating or undereating, or endlessly scrolling through social media. Social events feel exhausting. It takes real effort to keep up the mask. And when no one's looking, the high functioning collapses. You let yourself go completely, maybe binge watching TV, eating junk food, or simply lying there unable to move. That's when it hits you the hardest. Does this feel familiar? Maybe not all of it, but even if parts of it resonate, you're not alone. Leave a comment if you'd like to share your experience, or if something in this list spoke to you. High-functioning depression can silently grow until something breaks. That might be a burnout, a health crisis, or a moment where you just can't pretend anymore. Because emotional pain doesn't just go away when you ignore it, it goes underground. Many of my clients with high-functioning depression experience a range of psychosomatic symptoms, signals from the body that something deeper is going on. Some struggle with insomnia because they can't switch off their racing thoughts. Others wake up at night or far too early in the morning, haunted by nightmares or an inner tension they can't explain. During the day, they're hit by sudden waves of exhaustion. They often report chronic back pain or neck pain, digestive issues like constipation or stomach cramps, tension headaches or flare-ups of skin conditions like eczema. Blood pressure problems and a weakened immune system are not uncommon. If these patterns persist over time, high-functioning depression can lead to serious health consequences. The body keeps the score, and eventually it demands to be heard. But the good news is, even if it's been going on for a long time, change is possible. There are ways to reconnect with yourself, with others, with life. So let's look at what actually helps. Here are 3 steps to begin with. First, be honest with yourself. Stop minimizing the warning signs. Instead, start tracking how you're really doing. What's off? What's missing? Give your inner world as much attention as your to-do list. Sometimes one simple sentence can make a difference. I'm not okay. And I know how hard it is to face that truth, especially when you're used to having everything under control. Suddenly you're facing something invisible, something that lives inside you but has no clear shape. But naming your reality can already feel like a kind of relief. For me, journaling became a lifeline. Just putting my thoughts and feelings on paper helped create some structure in the chaos. Second, let your closest people in. Talk to the ones you trust most, your partner, a close friend, and tell them how you're really doing. It's quite a relief in being able to drop the mask in a safe space, to be seen not as the achiever or the one who holds it all together, but simply as a human being. For me, that person was my wife, and feeling that her love wasn't tied to my success or performance gave me the strength to take the next step, starting therapy. So third, seek professional support. A therapist can help you make sense of what you're going through and walk with you toward a better place. But short-term relief is only the beginning. To truly move out of high-functioning depression, we also need to look at the deeper patterns that brought us here in the first place. When I work with clients dealing with high-functioning depression, lasting healing usually involves one or more of the following areas. First, understanding what led you here. It often starts with the values and beliefs that have been driving you for years, often without even noticing. Things like, only if I work hard I'm worthy. Only if I succeed I deserve love. Only if I sacrifice for others, my life has meaning. These beliefs are rarely conscious. Many of them go back to early life experiences, your upbringing, what your parents expected of you, or the unspoken rules of a culture that glorifies performance. The key isn't to get rid of all ambition. It's to untangle healthy drive from toxic pressure. It's okay to be passionate. It's not okay to believe you're only valuable if you're perfect. Second, making space for grief and emotional pain. People with high-functioning depression often carry years of unprocessed emotion. They have been running for so long, they have never had the time or permission to stop and feel. Healing means slowing down, even just a little, and letting yourself grieve. It means acknowledging what hurt and letting it matter. Another important point, learning to set boundaries. You might need to relearn where you end and others begin. That can feel uncomfortable, especially if you're used to being the strong one. But in many cases, tighter boundaries, even just for a while, are what allow you to heal. This includes emotional boundaries too. How much of other people's stress or sadness are you carrying? Does your empathy sometimes come at the cost of your own well-being? Next, working through perfectionism. Everything has to meet impossible standards, at work, at home, even in healing. Part of recovery is learning to embrace good enough. But that doesn't happen overnight. Often we have to understand what perfectionism is protecting us from. The fear of being exposed, of not being enough, of letting someone down. Another important point, rebuilding your sense of worth. At the root of many of these struggles is one big question. Where does your self-worth come from? Is it tied to what you achieve, what you do for others? Or can you begin to believe that you're already enough, simply because you exist? Finally, clarifying what truly matters to you. This part is deeply personal. Some clients realize they've been chasing a life that never felt like theirs, living out someone else's dream, or trying to meet expectations they never chose. Others reconnect with what they love doing, but recognize that they need a different balance, one that includes rest, boundaries, and meaning beyond achievement. There's no single path, but getting clear on what gives your life depth, that's where real change begins. As I reflect on my own journey, let me leave you with this. Just because you're high functioning doesn't mean you're okay. High functioning depression is still depression, and you deserve care, even if no one else sees that you're struggling. I wouldn't have made it out without professional help. And maybe the most important and hopeful thing that I've learned is this. Depression isn't just a warning sign, it's also an invitation to change, to rediscover who you are, to shape your life in a new way, and to let go of the old baggage of beliefs and expectations that no longer serve you. I won't pretend that this process of change has been easy. I've fallen back into old patterns many times and still do. But slowly, something new begins to grow inside you. A part of you that never had space before, or that got buried under all the constant pressure to keep going. And as this part begins to grow, like a small plant breaking through the concrete, it brings with it a new kind of freedom. The freedom to let go of what no longer belongs to you. If you're looking for support and would like to work with me, just click the link to my practice website in the description to schedule an initial consultation. I'd love to hear from you. Many people with high-functioning depression worry a lot about what others might think of them. If this resonates with you, I cover this in my video on how to stop mind reading. In it, I share practical steps to break free from the constant overthinking and self-doubt that often come with high-functioning depression. Check it out. Thank you for watching, and please take good care of yourself, really.